days I actually didn't have to work as being a doctor and had the day off to go pal around. And so I was out and was at a place
Mhm.
that we were doing some intro. And let's see if I can get it. It's like, where is it? There.
Uh,
And this is on the back of my truck. It says
mhm.
Stop Project 2025. And I've been driving around for about 2 weeks with that now. And I have been followed by numerous people,
Mm.
some to give me props. People have been leaving me stuff on my windshield. And then there's the other type, and that was 2 days.
Oh,
So I'm going to walk
wonderful.
in, I'm going to close this up for now and get back to the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, and the serendipity part, the first person I met today is Stacy, who's here with me today. And she was one of the people that was literally waiting for me at the truck to give me props for, being
Yes.
enough to do this. So
Yes.
please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Stacy Delfelder. Live out here in North Scottsdale, believe it or not. Yeah, glad to be here.
Well, anyway,
Love. Yeah, go ahead.
the thing that we both saw is that, we're both advocating, we're both out there,
Yeah.
some of us more publicly than others. And with Stacy, I wanted to get, a female opinion on just the craziness that's going on with the Trump campaign now. I mean, it's like every week it just gets nuttier and nuttier and nuttier. And it's like the Handmaid's Tale, it's like we're going
Ugh.
in that now.
Yes, that's true. That's how I explain it, or how I view it as well.
Well, Stacy, I was told that you were a Republican at one time.
Yeah, I grew up in Texas. Family diehard Republicans, uneducated. Let's throw that in there. Only because my dad never got out of that small town. I thankfully ended up moving in with my aunt and uncle, which led me to another family from a church that I live with. My mom left when I was a little girl. She was one of those moms that didn't want kids. Guess what? She had kids. Guess what? We didn't have a great life because of it. She was abusive, never really took care of us. So she's not in my life. And when I first started talking against or feeling like Trump was so bad for our country, was from the very beginning, but it didn't have to do with things where it is now, but it definitely has added to it. I began having such anxiety about him when he was in the news, and it was all about them interviewing him about his daughter and what do you find in common with your daughter, and the sexual innuendos that he would say about his own daughter is what got me a red flag. I was just like, because of my history and my childhood, because I'm about to share something. I was sexually abused by my grandfather, and it's my dad's dad. So growing up in that small town, they never got out. I did. I became a flight attendant. And I met a lot of different people in this world, different ethnicities, backgrounds, religions. But because I lived in that small town, the way I thought was so backwards. Like, I thought all gay people were going to die of AIDS, because that's what they said to me. I thought all Black people were going to steal our jobs, because that's how my dad and grandfather talked. And my dad still, or his wife still talks that way. I bring this up because whenever I tried to talk to my dad about my views, I asked him, about the rate. Let's go to the racism. I said, why do you feel this way about a race? And he goes, it's how I was brought up. And I said, Dad, but who are you talking to? Who are you talking about? Who brought you up? And he goes, well, my dad. I said, yeah, your dad who was in the back room molesting your little girls. You put all your faith in a man that you should have never had your faith in, because he was bad. It clear as day. I have to go there because I'm trying for people to believe what they're seeing and hearing. What we see and hear, I have people trying to convince me I didn't see it that way. I did. like the insurrection, watching that day and listening to that man say, let's go down there. And I'm supposed to act like I didn't hear that. The way he talks about women, I'm supposed to pretend like I don't hear everything that he says in his own words. It's not me. It's not hearsay. It's not, just written on a piece of paper. I'm watching him say these things, and it's gotten progressively worse. And now the big picture is about our democracy. And this is like, you give that man power and it will be a dictatorship. They've already taken away our rights as a woman. My daughters, I don't have to worry about birth control or any of it. Well, actually I do, because I'm going through, sharing a lot, perimenopause. And guess what? They want to put me on birth control to help with my, so here and there. I should have that right. And I feel like I know I'm skipping around, but there is just so much, so many reasons. I'm weaving. So I should let you ask, but there's just, I'm so strong in my beliefs now. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to share why I feel this way as a woman, as a mother to a gay daughter, as an aunt to a trans person that hasn't come out to anybody but me. So they're living a life that's not even their real life, their authentic life. And that's a lot to carry. And I want that type of person to not fear their lives, just like you having that flag on your back of your truck. He has incited such violence that we can't even have verbal talks without it possibly getting violent or fearing our lives.
Well, Stacey, I'm going to ask you to get in the mind of women that would still follow Trump and vote for him, and think that
good, because here's the thing, I only have a few that aren't still there in growing up being in Texas. The ones who are not voting for him, they don't live in Texas, in that small town where I grew up. It's the ones that I know from California, from being a flight attendant. I lived in New Jersey, lived in Kansas even, and there's still struggles within those places. But the women that are still, I brought this up to you when we were talking. I finally asked my best friend, her name is also Stacy. We grew up 6th grade on. We were together when we both had our kids, and we have been friends for life. But she still lives in Texas, and she got a divorce from her husband, who I knew, remarried a man who I really liked in the beginning. But guess what? Now he is like, he uses religion to the Handmaid's Tales, let's say. He uses scriptures. He's been married 4 times. I feel like some women, they're
married. What can you say?
He's been married 4 times, but the reason I'm saying that is because she was convinced this guy was great, and they were only married 4 months, and it was already going downhill because he wanted to control her. And when we went to visit them, the only news they had was Fox News blaring in their home, and she works full time. So I'm like, I've been lucky. I've been a stay-at-home mom, but now my kids are all grown. So now I'm like, where do I put my energy and time? So I have time to research. I have time to watch it. A lot of women don't have that time. So they get the bits and pieces when they come flashing on TV, And so with Stacy, I asked her, why do you still believe in him now? And the only thing she said was, I feel like he's a really good businessman. That was what she told me. I said, Stacy, I can't even believe this is how it's going. I got so upset that I couldn't finish the conversation. So I did end the call. So that is one situation. And that is one that recently happened. My stepmom, this is my dad's wife. They've been married forever. She's now 78. She just turned 78. She lives in that tiny little town I grew up in. They're on Medicaid. They're on Social Security. My dad just went through, he had a cancerous tumor removed. We had to fly there to be with them in their trailer. They live in a trailer, and that's fine. But I'm saying what news was playing? Fox News. My stepmom said to me that she's against the government making the abortion thing. She's against that, but she feels like grocery bills are still high. But I also wanted to tell her, my dad, they did cap him out at about $2,000 for the treatments that he's had to pay. And then their prescription drugs have gone down, but they feel like it was better under Trump. But I said, he's never made your life better at all. My parents were the ones, they did take the vaccine, but I had other family in Texas who did not, but they believed Trump when they just believe, I guess it's because they're not changing the channel or they don't have the time, like I have had the time to watch the January 6th committee. I watched it every day. I'm like, okay, I'd love for them to watch From Russia with Lev. Just watch it. We saw it as it was happening, but now you're getting the back history of what was really going down. And I know that guy is a crook too, but that's who Trump surrounded himself with. And if they would get a hold of, like the national security people who just put out their endorsements for Kamala, if my parents would just look at that, my best friend, these are people that worked in security for America. I wish they would look at it, but they're just so closed-minded, or they're not changing the channel, or they'll pick religion. I've got a lot of the religious ones, and they're the ones that have been married a few times and cheated on their wives a few times. And I just get so disgusted because I'm like,
let me ask you something else here. It's like, it's obvious that we're not going to be able to reach people like that.
I know.
They're gone, but there's a lot of people that we can reach. And, that's part of what I've been doing for my advocacy.
Yeah.
Being out and being public like that, and it's not without its dangers. I mean, it's like one of the things that happened today after I left you, went over and dropped some supplies off at a restaurant. And coming back down to 101, I had a car come up behind me, drive up next to the side of my car about 3 inches away, roll the window down, and, it was a visceral reaction. I mean, just the hate on his face was just like incredible. So, and so we played tag, down to about.
Oh God, that's dangerous. Yeah.
And then I stopped off at a gun store. It's one of this in my neighborhood. And believe it or not, people that are Democrats and people on the left do own guns. And I do.
Yeah. Yes.
Know how to use them, have been shooting guns all my life.
Mm.
And so I was in the store talking about buying a hunting gun because I might be able to go deer and elk hunting later. And somebody, unbeknownst to me, who, supposedly says he's a gun dealer, followed me into the parking lot, stormed into the store. And this is a little store. I mean, it may be,
God,
20 by 20. And this is a guy, probably 5'10", 300 pounds. This is if he's an ounce. Literally gets up in my face. I can't repeat what he said, but it was not nice. I mean, the nicest thing he said was, I'm a libtard and I don't have a right to buy a gun. And became literally enraged.
Oh my God.
Was out, he wanted to go out and tear the sign off, so I got my camera out and it's like, buddy, you take that off of there and you're going to jail. Smacks the camera out of my hand, which
gosh.
Could have called the police if I wanted to. But literally red in the face, spitting rage. And my take home point from this is the first time I've done it where I've encountered that. But the intensity of these things is amping up decidedly. And I think that both of these guys have, I think this MAGA crowd is starting to realize that they're losing the election and they're losing badly. It's like in Arizona now, Gallego is up, on his end, at least 10 points over Lake. It's not even a race.
Oh, good.
I'm not worried about him winning. In fact, it's the other way around. Does Gallego have coattails long enough, to go over to Harris? Because you keep seeing these polls that Trump's ahead, and it's like,
I know, what's up with that?
Ooh, it's like you keep, Republicans voting for Harris. All these prominent people. It's like, who are the guys out there that are voting for Trump right now? And it's like, I don't hang around those people, so I don't get to see them anymore. You know, and frankly, I don't want to. But I go out and I see the rallies. Harris is here, and they're turning away 10, 15,000 people.
I was at that rally. That is another thing. A lot of my relatives and friends that are back in Texas and in Kansas, a few of them, they believe when he says it's AI generated, they paid them to be there. I wouldn't have really known if I didn't go, and I went, and I have videos of me there and videos of the audience, and nobody paid me. They sent me an invitation that you had to sign on, give your information to get that even. And but it's just not true. It's not AI generated. People are showing up. As a matter of fact, when I walked up to in Glendale where it was being held, I wasn't quite sure where to park. I see this mother and daughter. Can't even believe this happened. I see them and I said, "How are you? Do you guys know where the rally is or how to get into it?" And so she was like, "Oh yeah, you can cut through here and go through." And I was like, "Ah, my people. These are going to be my people, right?" She was like, I said, "Oh, well, how?" She goes, "How did you get tickets?" And I said, "Oh, I've donated to the Democratic Party. And then also I got an invitation. So I filled it out, and I wasn't going to go, decided last minute to go because it was so important for me to be there. And I went by myself and I was like, I'm doing this. So they were Trump supporters and they were there to see the lines. They wanted to see because she was like, when we go to the Trump rallies, we can't get in because the lines. And she goes, "So we're just here to see if the lines are long." And I said, "Oh, well, okay." And I go, "Well, thank you for showing me." And I said, and hey, see, we can have a decent conversation, even though we don't agree on who we're voting for. But it was cordial. But of all the people I'm going to walk into, and the first two people, and it was her and her young daughter, which is what got me. Is it was like, oh my goodness.
That happens. I mean, that was even my background. I mean, I grew up in Alabama.
Yes.
For Kentucky. I wasn't very long in Alabama, and that was at the end of high school. But it was long enough that I got to see the Ku Klux Klan in action. And for me, you know, it really hit home when I saw this Klan rally and I saw these little 5-year-old kids walking around in their little junior Klan outfits, you know, with their little toy baseball bats to beat up on people.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so this, you know, what I'm seeing is just a follow through of what I've been seeing literally for 40 years now. And that's what actually is starting to worry me. It's like after today,
yeah,
you know, I'm not going to take my banner off the back of my truck, but it's like that catches your attention when you're somebody that literally was holding himself back from trying to strike me.
Oh my God.
Nothing more than he wanted to do.
See, and I don't know how I'm going to handle that situation if it ever happens to me, because I'm wearing my Converse, I'm wearing my pearls today. I have a shirt that says "Vote like your rights depend on it," you know, with the little taking away our rights, taking away our books, the book bans. Oh my gosh. So anyways, I have the vote, and at the bottom it does say Kamala Harris.
Well, I mean, Stacey, I mean, is there anybody that you've reached out to personally?
Yeah. So a lot of people, okay, so in my neighborhood, I do live in a gated neighborhood. And so there are Trump signs in my neighborhood. It's usually, they're super, super old because we live in a community that we got in, we probably shouldn't be living here because we were a younger couple at the time and our kids were younger, but it wasn't. But so what I'm saying, we have a lot of snowbirds and we have a lot of people that are a lot older than my husband and I'm in my 50s. I'll be 53. My husband's 57. So a lot of them are in their 70s. And I really enjoy them. My neighbor across the street, she's in her 90s. And she, so anyways, there's not a lot of signs in my neighborhood, but I put out my Biden Harris one last year. I had Mark Kelly out. And this year I went to the rally. So I got, some of the, hand signs they gave me, and then one that says, "When we fight, we win. When we vote, we win." So that's been up in my window. And I attached my flag because we're taking back a flag, damn it. So anyways, Darren, my husband, we own our own business. And so they don't like stickers on the, our dealership thing because they deal with all kinds of people. And when I've helped my husband with paperwork, I have to go to the title company, and they are 2024 Trump, and they have all the abortion stuff sitting out there. And so I told my husband, you cannot send me back in there until after the election. But they're standing up for what they believe in. And I wish that my husband wasn't fearful. But a lot of people put my signs out. I had a note, it's on my refrigerator, and I had a note put in my mailbox, and I was like, oh, my husband's like, this is for you. And I was like, oh, is it going to be bad? And so the note was super sweet. It was a couple. They're from, I think they're from California, I do believe. But she said, your sign brings me joy. I want you to know this. And we're not going back either. And they are liberals, because she wrote it on there. And she goes, you're liberal friends. So that's what she said. I don't know them. I haven't met them yet. So when my husband left, he sees my neighbor next door. They're older, in their 70s. Well, they're older than us, but they're in their 70s. And they put out a Harris flag sign. First time ever. Last season, nobody put out anything. I was the only one on my street. And so I don't know where everybody stands, to be honest. I assume they were for the other party. And lo and behold, we met up, and because he got his hip replaced, so we were walking, and then they introduced me to some other people. So yes, I'm talking to neighbors. I'm finding out where they stand, why they stand that way. I share my point of view. I haven't had anybody that, well, I think maybe the liberal family, they probably don't always vote our way. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I had another one. A lady stopped in her car, and she was like, I had met her husband, didn't remember his name. So she starts saying, we're going to order signs because you have your sign out. We're going to put a sign out this year. So before, it was like, we didn't know what to expect, and people were unsure. Could he be a good businessman? I didn't like him from day one. I'm a never Trumper. I'm a never Trump guy. So now I'm finding out more. I don't know that they're all Democrats. I think that I saw a sign in a neighborhood right by mine. My husband and I went driving around, and it said Republicans for Harris Walls. I took a picture of it, put it on my Instagram. I'm just so proud of the ones that may not be on our side political. But for me, it's no longer about politics. I mean, it is, but at this point, we have to save our democracy. So I am talking to the ones who've approached me. I haven't had anybody approach me outside. I haven't had any negative at all, but I know I will. I wonder how I'm going to respond, like your day today, because I am a fighter. Like, this red hair is natural. And I'll get in your face if you get in mine, but I want to use my words like Kamala has. She uses her words to make him that little, like you said today.
Here's then my prediction, and also my fear is,
yes.
I've been saying that there's probably going to be violence after the election. In fact, is the real fight starts the night of November 5th.
I know it.
It's going to be, I'm hoping that it's enough of a blowout that there's really nothing they can do. But I have always had this sense, and today just confirmed it in spades, that there are going to be people that they're going to take action in their own hands, pull out guns. It's not going to be like a civil war. It's going to be some guy like today that just goes off because he just realizes his life is over because a woman's going to be president.
Yeah.
And they don't, they're not going to know how to handle it. And they don't have the support around them, to help them get through it. And there's going to be our problem on how to do it, because these people are not going to go away. The problem, the Republican Party is no longer the Republican Party.
Yeah, there's many more like him, is what we have learned, and that is the saddest part. They've been amongst us. They are amongst us. And when they say fear the people crossing the border, I feared all those people who showed up on January 6th and attacked our Capitol. That was another thing. Growing up, nobody of any other color or ethnicity ever hurt me in my entire life. My stepbrother was murdered by somebody who was white. The ones that were bad in my life were all white, I want you to know. And some of them were radicals, and I come from these people. You mentioned the KKK. I remember looking in some boxes at my grandparents' house, and I know that I saw a book, and it had pictures with the hats on, the white, and I was like, Could it have been a military book my grandfather had, or was he part of that? And I'm at the point where we have to break the cycle by talking and sharing our stories, as dark and dirty and gross as they may be, to convince these people that it's not illegals that are coming over and destroying our world. We have them living amongst us in our own families. And for the women, going back to your question, you asked me, why are my women friends? I can tell you the ones, I have very few people on my Instagram because I have revamped it and gotten rid of a lot of them because I just couldn't fight it anymore. But I'm leaving the ones that are still there. And a lot of them, they go with what their husbands are saying. In my circle, like I said,
so they're trad housewives. I think that's the lingo.
That, and yes, and some of them have brothers and sons that are police officers, which is so sad because we don't want to defund our police. I need that to be told. They need money so they can get in the right kind of training to face those things that may be happening. But we also have some that are die hard for him.
You can just go ahead and say it. I mean, and
they're for him, and it scares me, because
in the country there's a racist element, and I mean Phoenix is one of the worst in the nation apparently.
And the best friend that I told you about today, her son is a detective now out in Texas. And so she's one of them that is not going away from Trump.
There's my fear about that is that if things go sideways after November 5th, these are the people that we're going to be relying on to keep order.
Oh, I know.
And it's, not something I want to deal with, having a police force that is going around stopping people with Harris stickers on their car.
I know.
Like it's Nazi Germany. I've got a yellow star on my chest.
And I am so sorry for what you experienced today. Every time I leave my house, if I have my shirt on or my hats, I am fearful, but I'm ready. I'm like I said, I feel like, I hope I can use my words. But if I can't, I'll use my fist. No, just kidding. If they attack me, I will. If they attack me, I'm going to attack back.
That's the whole thing is, one of the things I've been out saying is you need to be prepared for this, because what we saw on January 6th in 2021.
God, right?
It's not going to start on January 6th. It's going to be November 6th. And again, I think it's going to be sporadic, but I think there's not going to be a place in this country where you're not going to see, somebody just feels like they've got to, do what they can to save, the world for, Trump and whatever. And I'm looking at all these, famous people, or these groups, these really great groups, or former Republicans that are endorsing her now. And I'm thinking, yes, I told my husband, I said, I know she's going to win the popular vote. That's a given. That's a done deal.
But with all these, what they're doing, in our higher courts, or I fear that, because they're going to do everything to let him get power. They're going to, and the electoral college is what I fear right now, is it's like, okay, so if it's a massive win, and the electoral college, they cannot still put him through.
That's what you got to hope for. And in fact, I'm feeling much more comfortable about predicting that. It's like my co-hosts who you haven't met, don't feel as strongly as I do. They're convinced this is going to be a down to the wire nail biter race. I've been thinking and seeing that if falls like I think it's going to do, it's going to be not only a popular vote wipeout, it's going to be an electoral vote.
And, at the rally and in the after that Kamala has, she says that, she reminds us, don't get complacent. And because even though I feel the way you feel, but there's just a little part that I'm just so afraid they're going to steal it somehow. I know I sound like the radical now, but I feel that way. But when you were talking about, so when I talked to my neighbor who put out the sign, she said to me, I hope nobody steals my sign. I feel like I live in a pretty safe community, but that she fears that in this little safe community I feel like we live in. And she goes, but you know what? I had to do it. And she goes, and I picked one specifically with a flag on it because I want my flag back. Because now when we see people with flags, we're like, oh, like I want to be proud of that flag, and now it just scares us and they've scared us. But if enough of us start putting out our signs, wearing our shoes, wearing our hats, and showing that there's more of us, then I feel like it will change the ones in the middle, maybe not the extremists.
Well, and again, that's why the name of the show is Streetlight Politics. And I'm saying Democrats have to learn how to fight. And it's not, and that's been my biggest criticism. I mean, like you, I'm an apostate Republican, left some time ago. And, now that I've been with the Democrats for a while, that's their biggest problem is they've not been willing to do what it takes to win, because coming in second place doesn't do you any good.
So, I wanted to share with you that you asked, about my background so I was a Republican up until Trump got the nomination. And I was only a Republican because I followed. I didn't lead. I didn't listen. I didn't research until things that matter to me were affected in my life is when I said, oh my gosh, I hate that it took me into my 50s to pay attention to things that are going to affect my kids, my grandkids, if I have any one day. I wish I was on board sooner. I wish I would have known, coming from that small town, becoming a flight attendant, meeting people of all different backgrounds, religions, just everything. I learned so much during that time. I should have paid more attention even after that, because that was my early 20s. But I'm really paying attention, and I'm trying to get my girls to pay attention. And my son, I worry about my son because he races cars, and the people who surround him have the Trump flags, and I get so concerned.
That's a concern, but it's like if you've done your job, once he becomes an adult, he has to make his own choice.
He's 28, and so I love his friends. I do.
He's out of the pod.
Yeah, he's out of the pod. But I'm tired of living in fear. But today, your situation, I should be a little bit more on guard, but I guess I'm ready to show them that I can hold my flag up too. I can wear my shoes too. You need to know who I am. Here I am. I am here amongst you, and I'm going to fight for the good of America.
And here's what's good about that is because I think we're both doing this, is we're doing advocacy for the people that, it's like us. And, I was a Republican because my family was. And
we're doing it for our family who are still Republicans. I'm trying to help my dad who's still on Medicaid, Medicare, as he fights cancer. I'm trying, if they only would understand that we want good things for them as well, that it's, it affects you. And I'm fighting for those people who are still against us.
And that's the whole thing is that fear is a bigger motivator in politics than happiness is. And at least it has worked like this up until now. I think that's the one advantage that we're going to get is that, Kamala is going to be the happy warrior that leads us to the promised land. But what you're going to be seeing over the next 42 days.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Is it 42 now?
Yeah, 42 now, actually less than 42, is going to be going deeper and deeper into fear-based hate mongering.
And what else is Trump going to say and do to incite it? And every day I put on the TV when I walked in, I'm like, I got to see what kind of stuff he did today. What did he say today?
Well, and that's where you have to look at that. When you look at what's happening with his rallies, people getting up and leaving, and they're walking out, they're shaking their head. That's the sign that you need to look at. Now, they may probably still vote for Trump, but they're not out there doing what we're doing.
And you know what? I wish the people, my family, friends who watched the debate when she said, I ask you, go to his rally. I want them to go and sit through that bullshit that he talks about. then maybe they'd realize, right? Like, listen, not bits and pieces, bites from a commercial, but go and sit through that long rambling and then come back to me and say, you still choose him.
Well, those are the numbers that I'm looking at when I'm
Yeah.
making my predictions. That one, they're not showing up in the honest polls, and they're sure as heck not showing up in the polls
I
like
want to be in that poll. How do we get on the polls?
don't know. Well, they don't ask many people for these, but it's like the New York Times came out today and said this is essentially a tied race. Well, the New York Times has a corporate interest in maintaining
Absolutely.
the first race, and it's all tied, and we need to be scared when
Absolutely.
they told, if they were really reporting the truth, getting out on the ground and seeing that the registration numbers for Democrats is through the roof. You look at young women that are registering for the Democrats, 1,000% over what it was 4 years ago. Now, I don't know what the base is it's coming off of, but
right.
when you look at Florida now, I didn't realize this. There's 500,000 Haitians.
Oh, I know.
Florida.
Did you see the lawsuits? I think that's amazing that there's a Haitian group that are going to sue them. But
good. I mean, and see, they're fighting back.
We got to fight back.
That's what has to happen.
Yep. I agree with that.
We have had a great conversation.
Sorry, I went all over the place. I have so much in this mind that I want to say to so many people. But I'm so sorry you had that incident today, and just know that.
I guarantee you it will not be the last before November 5th.
So I carry a Kamala Harris Walls. Let me go over here. Sign in my car. So anytime I see a Harris Wall sign, I hold it up. I also hold up if I see a Trump thing. But this is what I have in my car.
Okay, great.
And then I have this in my window. This is
excellent.
So bad. And I got my flag. Like I said, my flag is out. And I got my hats. You want to see my husband's is White Dudes for Harris.
Love it. Love it.
And I have the Kamalas, the kitty cat. So I'm wearing it out and about and proudly and showing, and I'm getting more people stopping and asking me where they can get the sign. So I think that there is a group of us in my neighborhood now that, even though some of them are still a little bit scared, they're doing it. I'm following up, and I'm like the guy, Dennis, that said, I said, I'm going to find him.
You are going to be more important than I am, because this is what I took away from my Southern Baptist upbringing is witness and testimony. And you're out there showing them that it's okay that you can vote for a woman, that you're not going to go to hell for doing it, and you're letting them have a space that they can come to talk to you about it. And then hopefully, it's not like you're trying to beat them over the head to convince them. Just a calm talk is going to be more powerful than red-faced yelling can ever accomplish.
I agree. And I think the more, and I love the ones that are, the Republicans that are putting out the Republicans for Harris, that's strength, that's courage, in my opinion. And I'm proud of those people.
That's giving people, for lack of a better word, a safe space, that they, are probably like, us, they've been Republicans all their life. They may not be actually find out that they're committed. It's just, they always done it this way. And, it's like you've been going to church for 30 years. It's like you never really paid attention to it. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and say, oh my God, I really need to look at what I believe.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had anybody push back yet. So I'll let you know how that goes when it happens, if it happens. But I am seeing more people. Can you hear me? Because you were kind of breaking up. Am I breaking up?
No, you're fine.
I'm seeing so many more people with Harris and wall signs and shirts and stuff. So that's a good sign, and I'm seeing less. Oh, we have a sailboat out at Lake Pleasant. We're selling it now for sale. But, and a lot of people out there, they had a little rally. Anyways, kind of glad we're selling the boat for now. But anyways, we still have those groups, but not as many. is what I was going to say.
Good.
Not as many trucks flying the flags. As a matter of fact, I've seen a few Harris ones. So I'm like, yes, that's good. So that gives me a little hope as well. So, but I loved yours today. You made my day.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, we're at the end of the show now. We try to get around 40 minutes. So
okay, sorry I talked too much.
Oh no, we'll have you back to chat some more, because one of the things, it's us three dudes.
I love it.
We need the gentler persuasion to come and show us what we're doing wrong. So
I think you're doing everything right, because when I saw your sign, I could not be more happy. Happier. I just couldn't wait. I was hoping you were coming out that door so I could say hello and show you my sign. So,
well, again, until next week, and then hopefully we'll have Harry Ramsbottom back with us. I hope everything is well, Harry, with you and your friend.
yeah.
And hopefully we'll get Louis back, who won't be so busy growing his business. So, and we'll talk to you later on. So everybody, thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so happy that.
And be safe out there. Be safe.
I will.
Okay.
Anyway, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.